Karen, where'd you go? There you go. Hi, Karen. I think it's still connecting to your audio. There it goes. There you are. I don't know. Zoom is taking forever to get people connected to audio right now.
Yeah. How are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm Karen.
Hi, Karen. I'm Heather. And we should have quite a few people coming in, hopefully. Try and check. Where are you from?
I'm from Sulphur, Louisiana.
Okay.
Right near the Texas border there.
Okay. Yeah.
About 3 hours from New Orleans. It's usually
Right.
everyone associates Louisiana with.
Hello, Camilla. Are you near
And where are you at?
the water there? I am in Tucson, so in the desert Southwest. Yeah.
Where are you, Heather?
I live in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, and so we've got like 80-degree days right now. You guys are
Oh, me
staying.
too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are pretty warm too in Louisiana, and humid.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys stay pretty humid?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we
I'm
don't
sorry,
have
let me
that
turn this.
at all.
Oh, well, controversy.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give people another minute or so. We should. Zoom kind of changed everything on me this past weekend because people were, they called it Zoom bombing, like jumping into Zoom meetings and trolling and doing crazy things. So now you have to like hit the admit button. Like everybody has to go into the waiting room instead of just joining like normal. And or have a password. It's like all random.
That makes sense though.
It does. It does. I'm glad they did. Hi, Camilla. You want to introduce yourself to Karen? I know you.
Sure. My name is Camila Hervey, and I'm a writer and editor here in Tucson. So I do copywriting and editing, things like that. I also have a bunch of other things I do, but that's what I really love to do. And yeah, just making the most of the time as I can. I feel like I kind of did my like what's happening for about 2 weeks, and now I'm just like, okay, like I can make the most of this time and kind of settle in, and I'm good at adapting because I grew up all over the world, so kind of trying to capitalize on that. Yeah.
Well, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I didn't know you grew up all over the world.
Yeah, I was born in Chile, and I lived in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, in California, which is kind of like a different country.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have 3 more people entering, so that's starting to make some sense. It's just taking a minute for
Hello.
all these things. It looks like everybody's audio connected. That's good. Okay. I am loving Zoom right now. Not. Do you
It's a
guys
good
see?
resource, though.
It is. It for sure is. Robin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Robin Kinney. Live in Fredericksburg, Virginia, work in Washington, D.C. for the Farm Bureau Association. So I work for the National Association, which is a advocacy group for farmers and ranchers. We're a nonprofit, non-political, but lobby on events. And I take care of membership and my volunteer committees and members who are farming. So.
Okay, very good. Nice to meet you. And Heidi, you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Heidi Klein. I'm a life and leadership coach. I focus on working with folks in ministry and nonprofit leadership and with congregations on strategic planning.
Very nice. Okay, and Mrs. Bruner, tell me your first name and introduce yourself.
I'm Linda Bruner, and I work with United Methodist Communications. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and I work for the United Methodist Church as far as I manage a lot of there are 13 different ways that you can give through the connectional giving. So that's the area that I manage.
Okay. Very nice. Okay. I just realized that this last email didn't go out. So I'm gonna send it real quick and we'll probably have some people join us. And we'll get started. Did everybody get a chance to download the workbook? Yes, okay. I can put that file here if we need to. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, so let's get started talking about that. So I want to look, just so we know real quick how the thing will go. I want to pray for us first, and then I want to kind of go into talking about the big picture. And then we'll go from there, talking about the essential elements in your schedule daily. And then we'll go into goal setting and talk about April, right? The goals you want for April and how we're going to break those down. And then putting them on like your daily schedule and how to structure your day in such a way that you not only get the most done possible in that day, but that you create a day that creates balance in your life, right? And you keep all of those super important things and those essentials and there's priorities in it. So we'll go, to there and do that. So let's go ahead and pray, and then we'll move on. Okay, so Father God, we just come before you now, Lord, and we thank you for this time together, God. We ask that you give each one of us in this room what we need for where you want us to go. Okay, our purpose, Lord, is not our will, but your will be done. So Lord, we ask for your wisdom and your guidance, and that as we follow your will, we know you will automatically bless it. And so we love you and we praise you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay. So on your workbook, on that first page, it talks about a couple things. So first of all, it is the one with the box in the bottom. Okay. And so my intention, like I just said, is for you to leave this workshop with April planned and have a good overall idea of what you want to accomplish. Now, I also want to say that this time period in history right now requires that we all give ourselves a little grace, okay? Everybody has change going on. And so you have one of two things going on usually. You're either busier now than you were before because of the requirements on your time, or you're less busy, right? Because all the social interactions and everything else has been released from your plate. And so either one of those can create situations where it's hard to move past the change, right? All change is hard. And not only that, everything that you guys are trying to do right now, so not only build businesses, maybe work 9-to-5 jobs, be wives and mothers and sisters and friends and church members, right? All of the hats we wear right now feel a little amplified. And so it's hard. Like, it's a hard thing that you guys are trying to do right now. And so, you know, that balance, when I talk about balance, we're talking about trying to stay productive and use this time wisely, but also giving ourselves some grace and realizing that sometimes productivity means rest. Okay. So I just want to talk really quickly then about this first piece here, and I'm just gonna have you guys chat in the chat box if you can. But what are the most important things in your life right now? Welcome, Amber, and C. I'm sure that's your initial. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. You're both still connecting up, I see. But if you could, yeah. So Camila says keeping connections to family and friends strong. Oh, she went back out. As well as her romantic relationship. Good. Yeah. Very good. So all of those three revolve around relationships, right? Relationships being most important. Heidi says her health, her family, her ministry job, her full-time, and her coaching practice. And Linda said family first, finding community for both church and work, for sure. And Robin said connecting and check-ins with friends across the country. I like that, Robin, because I know that a lot of people right now are feeling really isolated. And so the more we can reach out to them and just, hey, how's your day going? Do you need anything? Are you okay? You know, this is the perfect time in history to love your neighbor as yourself, right? Like to check in on them from 6 to 10 feet away. Okay. All right. So the next page then is, what do you want more of in your life and what do you want less of in your life? And so it's the more or less page, and they feed off of each other, right? So I put as examples, right? I want more serenity. Therefore, I might need to get rid of, I might have to have less stuff, right? Or I want less clutter on my desk. So therefore, I need to create more clear space, right? So they do kind of feed it off each other. So Camila also said making progress on writing and her editing business and not losing all the momentum. Yeah. Less lost time and more meaningful moments. Ooh, I like that one a lot. I like all of them, but I like that a lot. Right, less lost time and more meaningful moments. So, very good. So what about your more or lesses? Let's put those in the chat box as well. And while you're writing those, you can also begin thinking about the next page, which is the no more page. So rather than I want less of this and I want more of this, this is the I'm done with it and I want no more of this in my life, right? So let's talk about the some more. So Heidi says less busy work and more productivity. Yeah. And Robin, more focused outcomes. More focused. Okay, got it. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Less lost time and more meaningful moments. More focus, less busy work. Yes. Yep. So I love this quote. It's by Sandra Yancey, who's the director and founder of eWomen Network. And she says, only do what only you can do, right? Only do what only you can do. More balance. And it's let me admit somebody, it's a nice, you know, your people or your clients, they want you, right? They want you to show up for them. And so sometimes some of those little detail things, it's helpful if we can to find somebody to do them for us. I'm not really great at that. I need to get better at it, actually. And then the no more list, right? So no more of what? So for me, sometimes that feels like no more people pleasing, no more whatever, right? No more saying yes to all the things. Okay. No more. And the no mores are my favorite because they're your boundary, right? No more putting everyone else first. Yep. That whole like put your oxygen mask on first before you put the one on the person next to you, right? No more agreeing to help everyone with their projects and ignoring mine. That's good, Linda. No more 0 days where nothing of value happens, whether it's work or rest or play. I like that, right? Like the reason I like that so much is because it has the right mindset where work and rest and play are all valuable, right? And then no more stewing about what others are not doing. Yeah, no more drama, no more little things that explode into mega issues. Yeah. Okay. And I like that no more stewing about what others are not doing. Like we can't control what they do or don't do, you know. So I like that a lot too. No more drama. Very good. Okay. And so as we think about these things, right, we have like the things that are most important to us, and we have the what we want more and what we want less of, and the no more things in our life. And you know, it's the daily things that create those things. And again, we're back to giving ourselves some grace. Those things aren't going to happen overnight. You're not going to just quit being frustrated with what others aren't not doing because you decide to, but you will catch yourself, right? And then step back and be like, okay, I'm going to let that go. Okay. So the Blessed Essentials page in your workbook has a couple of things I want to talk about, really 3, and there's really 4, but so for us as Christian women, we know that there are some essential things that we need in our life to make our day, right, go better, and that needs to happen every day. And one of those is time with God, right? Time reading, time prayer, just time spent with Him, just listening and letting Him download, right, whatever He wants to say to us. But the number 1 killer of productivity is a lack of sleep. And I know, right? It's not like the tip and trick to get this done, but it's a lack of sleep. And so who in the room thinks you always get enough sleep? Or yeah, I guess I should phrase that. Yeah. So that is part of what drags your day down sometimes, right? And then the number 2 killer of productivity is lack of exercise. And so I'm not, so I am all for, obviously, the, 4 or 5 times a week of strenuous exercise. But really what I'm talking about when it comes to productivity is just moving, okay? Just going for a walk, just moving your body. And when we get to this part a little bit later, right, we'll find ways to work that in where it's also beneficial for for your scheduling as well, okay? And then, of course, the fourth thing that I didn't put on the sheet is, you know, what you're fueling your body with. So, because if we start, you know, if we start feeling sluggish, that's when our productivity fades, okay? Okay. So let's talk really quickly then about goal setting. So we want to go into what goals do we want to accomplish in April, keeping in mind, right, that the situation we're in might affect some of those goals, and that's okay. All right. So as we're setting goals, I know that most of you have heard about SMART goals. They're easier to understand than to actually write. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, but really I just want you to decide on your 3 goals for April. So we're going to make sure they're specific. You know, 9 times out of 10, a specific goal has a number in it, just kind of as a litmus test. So instead of, you know, I want more clients this month, it might be, I want 3 new clients this month, or 4, or whatever your, you know, all of our businesses are different. You know, they usually have a number in it. So they're measurable, which means you can track them, right? You can tick it off as you go, like, oh, look, I got 1 new client, yay. And I got the second one, okay? They are attainable. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have a love-hate relationship with this attainable part of SMART goals. And so a lot of it depends on your personality. And so a lot of what I talk about is how to structure and schedule your day as it relates to your personality. So if you're the kind of person, right, who says, I want 5 new clients, and then you get to the end of the month and you're like, oh, and beating yourself up because you only got 4, right? And you want to make sure that you set your goal where it's attainable. But if you're the kind of person, or if you can make the mindset shift to, I'm going to reach for the stars, and if I land on the moon, that's all right, right? Like, I want 10 new clients this month, and then I get 5, and I'm super happy because it's still 5 more than I had, right? So it just depends on your thought process there. And then are realistic and relevant. For me, that part of goal setting means, is it the right goal for me right now? Okay. So I talked to a woman the other day who said, you know, that one of her goals was she wanted to clear the paperwork off of her desk and get it all scanned in digitally. And as we were chatting, it eventually, like, I realized that what she was talking about was the papers on her desk at her office. And it was, you know, it was really just the stress in her life right now that was keeping this paperwork at her desk, on her desk at her office, kind of forefront of her mind. Where in reality, she can't go there right now. So getting all that scanned in, right, it's just not the relevant goal for right now. It will be when she gets back there. So it was the worry that was creating the goal, right? So make sure your goal is relevant, and then also timely. So we're going to want to put some timelines on it. Okay. So does anybody, if you want to share your goals in the chat box, I would love that. And we can talk through some of them. And then we will go to, once we get them to be SMART goals, we'll put them here. And there's 3 pages for this. Now, as you're setting your 3 goals, make sure one of them is a personal goal, okay? And then make sure one of them is a work or a business type related goal that you want to have. That way, again, we're talking about creating balance, right? And if we have 3 just work goals, then we're ignoring a whole part of our life, right? So make sure one of them is a personal goal. And then we'll go from there. So tell me, what do you guys want as your goals for this month? Camila said, I want to do more consistent follow-up with potential clients. Does this work? I want to contact at least 2 people a week or 8 a month who are potential clients. Yeah, absolutely. Because there you have, it's very specific. I want to contact 2 a week. And, it's measurable, whether you did it or not. It's realistic. It's relevant because I love right now that we can pick up the phone, we can jump on Zoom, right? All this kind of stuff. And it's timely because you have it like every week. Heidi says back on track, exercising 5 days a week. Okay. Add in how long, and then make sure, Heidi, that if you get 4 in, remember, you're not beating yourself up for not getting 5. Okay, very good. I'm going to let you guys keep typing over there and letting us know what goal you want to have. And then as you have your goal here, we're going to break it down over here. Camille says she wants to take a 15 to 30 minute walk 3 days a week. Very good. We're gonna work that right into your schedule. So we're gonna break it down over here. Okay. So let's look back at Camila's first goal there about following up with potential clients. But here you want to answer all the questions. How are you going to follow up with them? What do you need? Do you need anything in order to make that happen? Is just emailing them, is that following up with them? Like all of the little details of that. Okay, so you're breaking it down over here. Anna says, be more productive. So Anna, if you can type in there, like, what does that mean? What does that mean for you? Okay. Linda says, personal schedule prayer time once a day. Easy to say, hard to follow through. Absolutely. And then for work, finish at least 3 campaign result reports by the end of April. Very good. I like that. Okay. And then Heidi, spend at least an hour each day showing up in the coaching practice, writing, social media marketing, reaching out, not actual coaching time. So I like that. That's like the working on your business part and not in it, right? Like the coaching time, you're working in it, and then the stuff that makes the client getting happen is the working on it. So that's good. So the finish at least 3 campaign results by the end of the month for Linda. When you break that down over here, right, is there, like, what information do you need to finish those reports? Is there any research you need to do? Right, all of the things that go into that. And obviously, you know what those entail, and I do not. So, so you're going to break those down here. And then if you guys look at these 5 weeks here, okay, those are the 5 weeks of any given month. So April started right here on this first Wednesday, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take these here that we've broken it down and just assign them a general week. So if they're more project-based, if they're more routines-based, then you're going to have them. You can put them on each days, but you're going to have kind of the same thing. If you want to exercise 5 days a week, you're going to have 5 of these days and 5 of these days and 5 of these days. So, okay. And here, so this isn't the time that we want to schedule the daily nitty-gritty kind of stuff, right? We're just taking our project and we're just breaking it down in the weeks. So sometime in this week too, I'm going to do this, okay? Sorry, Karen says work in book, write at least 2 pages every day. So I love that, Karen, because you just went from kind of vague, right? You want to work on your book. Okay, great. But 2 pages every day is very specific and it's very measurable. And it's all of those things that make up a SMART goal. It's this, each, and every day. And so when we get to scheduling your day, we're going to put that in there. That way you make sure you have the time for it, right? Work more on a schedule basis. Okay, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. And Heidi said spending 15 minutes a day in personal meditation and prayer, not related to serving others, right? That's huge. And I know for a lot of like pastoral type people or anybody serving in ministry, like Heidi is. Like a lot of times you're researching to give a message, to, you know what I mean? Like all of these things instead of just for your own personal life. And so that's hugely important. Okay. So I love that. And then your next page, I'm going to let you guys keep working on these, but this one here, right? You'll be able to do one of these for each week. So I only focus on the next week. Okay. Once I have my bigger project or my tasks generally put in the week bins, right? Then I'm only doing this daily stuff 1 week in advance, or I usually do it on Sunday night for the week that's coming up. Because if I do it before that, I'm going to redo it anyway, because something's going to come up that changes my whole week around. So if I do it on Sunday night, then I can pretty much guarantee. And then you notice I'm still saying, okay, this is what I'm going to get done on Monday. This is what I'm going to get done on Tuesday. I'm still not saying, you know, Tuesday, you know, exactly when. Okay, so we're just going to look at the next week or this week if you're in it, and then put down like what you want to do on each day this week. And so Karen's going to have write 2 pages. And oh, bummer, I'll have to check that. Sorry. I thought I know. Yeah. So, but it did earlier, it did in the fields above that. Oh, that's interesting. Sorry about that. I will, you know, I can fix it and try and send you guys one that does. Okay. I want to journal, pray, and meditate for 30 minutes or more. Okay. And then we're going to go from that daily, right, to this is your day. And that's all 24 hours in your day. And you'll find that obviously most planners don't include 24 hours. But the reason I do is because I want you to go back and think about the things you said were most important and the essentials, right? The first thing I want you to put on here is when you're going to sleep. Right? Very first, when you're going to sleep, and then move. And we're going to talk a minute about kind of working that into your day. But so we're going to put all those essentials on here first. And before you go ahead and do that, I'm going to talk about 2 different concepts really quickly that I think play into scheduling your weekly or your full days. Okay. And one of them is called Parkinson's Law. And when I say Parkinson's Law, many people, like their brain goes to Lou Gehrig's. So it's not that, it's not anything to do with that, nothing. But Parkinson's Law says your work will expand to fill up as much time as you give it, okay? So if you give yourself an hour, let's say, to write a blog post, it's gonna take you the whole hour, okay? If you give yourself 20 minutes, you're going to get it done in 20 minutes. Now, obviously, it's not like, oh, I'm going to do this in 2 minutes. We're still going to be realistic, right? But we're going to condense the amount of time we give certain things. And one of the ways we're going to do that too is to break it down. So writing the blog post is different from doing the research for the blog post, okay? Those are 2 different tasks. They're 2 different things you're going to do. And so if you're going to do something, if there's something that needs to be done ahead of it, make sure you break it down that far. So for project-based stuff especially, I want to break it down to like the next thing that I have to do, okay? So if I need to write an email series, the first thing that I need to do is decide, right? My first task might be to decide what each of my topics for my series are going to be. So you want just what's the very next thing on that. Parkinson's Law can be seen a little more readily in some of your other areas of your life, and it applies like everywhere, right? Like get a bigger house, we just put more stuff in it. There is a eating plan that says if you want to consume less calories, just get a smaller plate. You'll put less on it and then you'll automatically be consuming less, right? Dave Ramsey's envelope solutions for personal finance is getting a smaller plate for your spending money. Like you're restricting it and putting boundaries on it. Same along the money lines, the book Profit First. It's pay yourself first, pay your taxes. The very last thing on that list of things you're dedicating money towards is your expenses. Okay. So it's that same idea. We're going to have all of our essentials, like sleeping, like moving, like prayer and study time, all of those things in our schedule. And what that does is it makes us be really creative on how we're getting stuff done. The same way, if you make your expenses plate smaller, right, you start getting really creative on how you can get your stuff done with less money, right? Because so it's that same idea. So that's Parkinson's law. The second thing, the second sort of big principle that I want to talk about is just the rhythms of your life and of your day. So we see rhythms in everything that we do, right? There's winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, spring, summer, fall. Okay, those are the rhythms that are like big. We have a daily circadian rhythm that's just day, night, and our bodies are doing certain things throughout that time without us even really thinking about it. And then there is another one, I'm going to type it in the chat box, called ultradian. I can't type. So it's ultra and then dian. Okay, and those are the rhythms that your body uses in less than a 24-hour period. Okay, they're usually like 90 to 120 minutes of this cycle. And we see it most readily in our sleep cycles, right? We have like short periods of REM sleep and then deep sleep and light sleep. And we just, go through that cycle. That cycle continues in the daytime, but it flip-flops. So where REM is your most active and it's the shortest at night, in the daytime, your productive time is the longest period of that cycle. But it's still going through about 90 minutes of productive time and then about 20 minutes of rest time, and 90 minutes of productive time and 20 minutes of rest time. So I know that a lot of people right here are like, I cannot rest 20 minutes for every hour and a half. Like it just can't happen in my day. Okay. But really what happens is it's your brain that needs a brain break, right? It's your brain that's trying to go through this cycle, and we can power through it. And when we power through it, we throw off the rest of our rhythms, right? Which is why then our sleep starts suffering. The more we have insomnia, the harder it is to sleep. Like all of those things have to do with this ultradian rhythm. And so the way that I look at it is, if I have like a medium level task that I need to do, then I can work through the full 90 minutes. And then I just need, you don't have to go take a nap for 20 minutes, right? But that's a good time, if you can, like go out and walk down the road, right? Get some of that movement in. If you're trying to get some more stuff done at home, go in, like clean up the kitchen. It's like just switching tasks so that your brain isn't trying to stay focused on this one. And then we'll come back to the 90 minutes more of productive time, and your brain will stay more focused on what it wants to focus on. Okay. If I'm doing a super intense focused task, then I use the Pomodoro method, and that's 25 minutes of super focused time and 5 minutes of break. So it is for single tasks, right? Like 25 minutes, I'm going to get this blog post written. I clear everything else off of my desk, clear the, shut off my notifications, all that stuff. And I'm going to focus on one thing for 25 minutes. And then I'm going to set my timer. When 25 minutes up, I'm going to get up, go take a break, go to the restroom, get a drink of water, right? And then come back. So you could do 3 of those in your 90-minute session. But like I said, if I'm just doing more routine tasks, but like that mid-level brain work, I just work through the 90 minutes and then take my 20-minute break. So anyway, does anybody have any questions on those like bigger concepts? Yep, we can just unmute you. Let's see. There we
Unmute
go.
myself.
Yeah, I got
So, so I think I missed exactly what the Parkinson's one was. I got the
Okay.
other notes, but
Sure.
can you just
Um,
overview it real quick?
Yeah, really quick. Yep. So Parkinson's law says that your work will expand to take up the amount of time you give it, right? So we're going to get a smaller plate. That's really like just get a smaller plate. And we're smushing things down into these 90-minute sessions. And we're doing that because of the biology of our bodies. Okay. And so part of this really starts requiring, like, we're listening to our bodies. So we all know when we're sitting and doing something and all of a sudden we're like, I cannot focus on this anymore. Okay. Like I'm everywhere. My brain is like wondering, oh, what's going on behind me over here? You know, whatever it is, then we know like it's time for that break. So we just need to be listening and paying attention there to our bodies. So we're going to schedule sleep. We're going to schedule movement time, and that can be in between the times of your 90-minute thing. That's actually the beauty of working from home. And I know if you're working in an office, honestly, this happens sort of naturally because you get up and you go to the restroom and you talk to 3 people on your way back. Or, you know, when you're working with coworkers, a lot of times it tends to happen a little more naturally. And so when you're working home, you have to be intentional about it. And so the other thing too that I wanted to say about this is when you're scheduling, so that thought just left me. Sorry about that. Anyway, Heidi, or your coworkers interrupting you. Yes, on the other side of the coin. Yeah. Well, Tritium would help on constant interruptions as well. Yes, I could go dark and shut off all notifications. Yeah. So one of the things like turn your phone on airplane mode. Nobody needs to find you for an hour and a half. It's okay. They can wait. Same thing, like Heidi, for people coming in and interrupting you, if it works for you, and I know it doesn't work for everybody, but just putting a sign on your door that says, I will be available again at noon. You know, I'll be available again at this time until, you know, and so a lot of one of the ways to eliminate some of those distractions, if you're in a co-working office or something, is letting people know, like, I'm focusing on this right now, and so I need 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. I need an hour of, you know, whatever it is. And most of the time, you know, they'll respect it. Hopefully, unless they think their hair is on fire, you know, which sometimes they do and it's not. But okay. Any other? Yeah. Any other questions on any of that? No. Okay. Back to like giving yourself some grace. Eventually, as I go through this, it does become more of a daily rhythm than a set in stone schedule, right? So, you know, it's not like I'm waking up at 4 because I set my alarm at that time. It's I'm going to wake up and then I'm going to make a cup of coffee and then I'm going to get to work and then I'm going to, you know, walk down. It just becomes this like rhythm rather than at 8 o'clock I'm doing this. And so when you're scheduling your week, obviously we put the things that have actual times on them in there first. And then I utilize some other things like time blocking and task batching that like put all my meetings together if I can, like that kind of stuff. So that helps me. And then what else? And then, oh, I know what I was saying. There's a whole bunch of, like, especially in productivity world, these people who say you have to have a morning routine, right? Your morning dictates your day. And I'm going to say, for me, like, if you're a person who needs a morning routine, then by all means have a morning routine. But don't feel guilty if you're not, if you don't function that way. In other words, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like ready to go. So I'm gonna, like, that's my highly productive time. So I'm gonna get right to work. I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna do the things I need to do. And then around lunchtime, when I start like going downhill a little bit, right? I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna fix some lunch, I'm gonna eat something, and then I'm gonna put my exercise there. Because if I put it in the morning, then I feel like I'm wasting my good brain time. And I get the same benefit from the exercise time there. So as long as it goes into your schedule there somewhere, or your rhythm somewhere, it doesn't have to be in the morning. So Linda said, do any of you schedule a certain time of the day for specific tasks like answering emails? Or is that not something that is achievable? For me, it's not something I can see as a realistic goal working from home. You get calls, emails, texts, Slack all day long. Yeah. So I think, again, this kind of depends on your situation. You're right. It, like, with the change right now, it's the primary way people are communicating. I think that's fairly true oftentimes anyway. And so I think that you can, so I schedule, let me just go this way. I schedule my email. I check it, not first thing in the morning, but within the hour of first thing in the morning, after I come back from my lunchtime, and then before I'm done for the day. And I do have pretty kind of done for the day times. And I don't check it in between there. With email, you know, if they can't wait that long, they probably have to find another way to get a hold of me. 10 minutes at the end of the hour. She's right about that. Like, no, that's good. Like, because then it's really consistent. And, you know, chances are somebody's, you know, they're not waiting more than 50 minutes to hear from you. You can be stuck in email all day if you don't schedule time. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about email, text, Slack, WhatsApp, all of the things. I think too, if there's anybody, some people have like somebody who needs to be able to get a hold of them, you know, at a certain time. And I would give them like one way to do that that's separate from everybody else's. And then everybody else doesn't need to get a hold of you. So for example, if you have, I'm thinking of if you have a boss, right, that when they want to get a hold of you, they really want to get a hold of you, put a Google Voice line on your phone or something. And then when that one rings, you're like, okay, I'll answer it. The rest of them, you're going to ignore. And it can have a totally different ring, you know, and you can silence. Yeah. So you can do things that sort of put people in a bucket so they can get a hold of you or not get a hold of you. Hopefully that helps. Yeah, Google Voice is awesome. Yep. Okay. Any other sort of big picture or any other questions on any of it? Yes. Camila.
So I had a question that with sleep, because my biggest thing is I love, like, I appreciate routine, but I'm very stubborn, and so I don't like being constrained even by myself. It's a really hard, it's a really weird problem to have, but like I fight with myself all the time. So what I'm trying to do is maybe like have a range. Like instead of like being like I go to bed at this time, because honestly I'm not going to go to bed at 10. I just won't. I won't, unless I'm super tired and I've worked 5 days in a row or something, because I nanny right now as my like main job. So like if it's a range between like 10, like an hour range, not like between 10 and 12, because that's maybe too big, but like between 10 and 11 or between 11 and 12, something like that. Because I just feel like when I put hours on things, I start to get angry and I'm just like, I don't want to go to, like, I get like a toddler. I don't want to go to bed at that time. So, but if I have a range and I'm like, I can go to bed 10, 10:15, 10:30, like I have options, even if it's not really an option, feels like an option. I think that helps. But that works, right?
Yeah.
Like that's still
No,
scheduling.
for sure.
That's still.
And that's, yeah. So that's one of the things too, when I was talking about like, it'll morph into more of a rhythm instead of at this time, I'm going to do this thing. You know, it'll be like, I'm going to go to bed at a decent hour and not stay up till 3, unless you're not, I mean, like I know people who their best work time is 2 a.m. But then they sleep, they still sleep, right? Their sleep time is just from, you know, early morning hours of everybody else. They don't get up till noon. So there's some people who function on that schedule great. And it's sort of the beauty of freelancing, right? So it will become more of a rhythm. There's also, so it's very interesting you say that, because there's, I think her name is Gretchen Rubin, has the 4 tendencies, and it's how you respond to accountability. And it's whether it's internal accountability or external accountability, right? And so if you set your own kind of like time that you want to go to bed, and then you fight against that, chances are you fall in that like rebel portion of her. I do, just so you know. So there's no judgment here. Like in that rebel tendency of hers, which is you don't respond to external accountability or internal accountability, right? So one type of tendency is you respond to both. You're the, you know, you're a rule follower. You have external accountability and internal accountability. Then there's one of each on either side where you respond to external or internal, but not both. And then there's that rebel personality that doesn't respond to either. And so you just have to start getting super creative at how you're holding yourself accountable for things, because you start getting, you know, external accountability is, I'm going to set this up with you, but like, I don't have any feeling attached to whether I follow through on that or not, right? Like your accountability with me. And so it's what you're setting up. And so that might be something good to look at too. Did you have a follow-up to that?
Yeah. So, so what I've heard is, and you know, there's so much like conflicting stuff with sleep, but what I've heard is that it's more important to have a consistent like wake up time, like within the hour, than it is to have a consistent bedtime. And I feel like that's been true. Like for me, like I do better when I get up at the same time, even if I get a little less sleep the night before. Do you find research supports that?
I think that I think I'd
Or
have
your
to
own
look at that
experience?
a little bit more, but I do think that it depends on if that is like a consistency thing. So do
Okay.
I think getting 6 hours of sleep instead of 8 one night is going to kill you? No. But if you're always getting 5 or 6, you know, rather than
Yeah.
what your body needs, then it becomes, you
Okay.
know, it becomes the issue. All the one-offs are never the
Mm-mm.
problem, right?
Mhm. All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Sorry. No? Okay, do you guys feel like it was helpful? Yes, okay, good. Holly says she was late, I'm sorry. That's okay, homeschooling right now and tech difficulties. It is recorded. So yeah, I can send it to you, Holly. Let me write your name down so that I have it. And I can just send it to you. So I'm just gonna screenshot this and I know who was here. Do you guys want the recording as well? Yeah, I can just send it to you. I just took a screenshot of who was here so I can I can send it off to you, no problem. Okay. So I do want to let you guys know I'm opening up a beta program that is all about productivity. And so I would love to have you guys join me. It is an 8-week program, and it's very similarly structured, kind of, you know, in a much more in-depth way of what we kind of did today. So we're talking a lot about eliminating distractions. And then the first part is we're talking about those big picture things as far as, you know, letting your yes be yes and your no be no, and staying in the purpose where you're, that God has for you, right? And so being really clear on what that purpose is so that you're not doing the things that you said no more about, right? Like that's that part of the things. And we have some project management stuff. So there's a little bit of difference between project management type things and operations or routines management. So those are two separate things. And then some implementation stuff. And so we include a weekly short training. So the time commitment per week would be about an hour a week, I think. So it's not, I mean, we're busy. That's the whole point, right? We're trying to be more productive to have, so hopefully within this hour per week, we have some things you can implement that will gain you like more like 10 hours a week to do the other things that you want to do. I forgot to mention one of the things too, when you're scheduling out your day, is to leave some white space in there, right? And it's the plan for the unexpected, because something's gonna come up, somebody's gonna need you, right? So somewhere in there, just leave some blank time. And the beauty of that is when you leave some white space in your schedule, right? Then when you do get it, you get to fill it with whatever you want, okay? So you get to fill it with work if that's what you want to fill it with. You can work on your business. If you get to fill it with family time, if that's what you want. Like then it becomes like this place where, I mean, you're deciding your whole schedule anyway, but you get this place where, oh, look, I have this time and I get to do with it what I want. And the whole point of this entire program is to have all of the things in your life that you want without feeling guilty without feeling guilty about not doing the other part, right? So time with your family while not feeling guilty with working on your business, or time in your business. I just went out and back in. Time at your business and not feel guilty that you're not with your family at that exact moment, right? We're going to put all the things there so that you have like that guilt-free work time, the guilt-free play time, all of the things that you want in there. And so that is the point of that program, okay? It's a beta program, so I'll be asking for feedback from the people who are in it, and building it as we go so that it suits what the people who are in it, what they want, okay, or what you want. And so I'm sure I will email that out to you guys as well, but I'm going to put it here as well. I should have. Okay, that one should work. Let me just double check it. But I would love to have you guys in there. I think we're going to do a weekly training, weekly Q&A. We're also going to do 3 get stuff done days. So there'll be 3 co-working days that we'll get together. We'll set the intention, and then on Zoom, just work and then come back together. So it's just that accountability piece. So honestly, accountability is the biggest piece of any of this stuff when you're trying to change habits, and keeping those 4 tendencies in mind. Let's see if there's anything. Yes, I can send the link to the updated file. It was Robin, she jumped off, but yeah. And then thank you, Camila. She said, I'll be praying for peace for y'all this month as we try to build up some new rhythms and be kind to ourselves. Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I would love to have you guys. It's $127 in the beta program for the full 8 weeks. So that is, I mean, it's never going to be that cheap again, because it's never going to be a beta again. Right. So I would love to have you guys. And so before I go, I want to pray for us again, but I also want to let you know, I will, after I pray here, I will stick around and answer as many questions as you guys want. We can talk about any of these like bigger concepts. So whatever you guys want. So let me pray, and then we'll sort of open that up, okay? Father God, I just thank you for each and every woman here, God. I ask that you go before them and shine your face upon them, God, that they know they are loved and that you are with them in this time and in all times, God. We know that none of this that we're going through right now took you by surprise. And we know that you have it in your hands. And so we're just trusting and we're standing in faith, God, that you will use whatever the world is going through now, this craziness, for your good and for the good of the people who love you, and that the world will see you glorified in all of it. And God, that's our main desire. We just want the light of Jesus to shine through us. And so we love you and we praise you. And I ask, God, that you bless each one of these women here, that you bless their week, that you help them stay focused on what you'd have them stay focused on, God. So we love you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. All righty. So I'm here. You can ask questions. We can chat, whatever you guys want. We've had a blessed week.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Karen.
much. I really
Sure.
appreciate you, sharing your wisdom and your expertise, and just I think there's a lot of peace and joy to be had in this time that we get to
Mhm.
choose. So thank you for
Yeah,
making
I
that
love
practical and actionable, and not just like kind of floaty and hard to attain, because I think
Yeah.
that's the hardest, is just having the practical. So I
Right.
appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kayla.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, good, Anna. Thank you. Oh, last one.
Heather, I'll just say thank you too before I leave.
Sure.
We should set up one of those buddy chats for that other thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great.
This was great. I really appreciate, especially the idea of the ultradian rhythms. I got to think about that a bit, because it makes a lot of sense, and I'm not using it well.
Right. Yeah. We push through it. We've all done it. We all push through it, and then gets us all thrown off.
Right.
So,
All right. Thanks again.
thank you.
Hey, Heather.
Hi, Karen.
I'm definitely interested in the beta, but with that, is that going to be scheduled at a specific time? I'm out of work now, which is great, but I anticipate we probably will go back, I pray.
Right. Right.
So during that 8 weeks, how is that going to work?
So part of it will depend on who's in the group. So there's a private Facebook group for everybody who's in there, and we'll do the trainings at a certain time, but there'll always be replays of them. And then I will try and schedule the Q&As where the most people will benefit. And I probably kind of like I have this workshop, like kind of vary them, but probably not as much. Probably like 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, kind of thing, to make sure everybody gets what they need. And then, yeah. So I think that's like getting the input from the group at the beginning, and then scheduling them where it works for the most people, and then also alternating some time periods to make sure everybody can get on at least one a week. So I'll do the training with a small Q&A with it, and then another Q&A like later in the week, so that everybody can get on at least once a week.
Alrighty. This is great too.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I kind of started
Thank
scheduling,
you.
but you gave me some meat to it. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Karen.